Hi guys, it's Al Roberts, and I am here today to tell you to mind your business. I am recording today in my backyard, because I'm talking about today. We're going to be talking about making money and how you might want to make even more money. So I wanted to show you that I am in my backyard in the middle of the day. I'm not at anybody's job, and there's nothing wrong with being on a job, but your goal should be to make money even when you're sleeping, make money when you are in your backyard, as I am now. So, what we're going to be talking about today is my first means of making money. It was my first investment, and if you haven't guessed it already, it is real estate. And it's really simple. It's the first and easiest way to make money. You have to live somewhere. Now, there's a lot of people that are going to tell you that real estate, buying a personal home is not necessarily an investment simply because you have to pay a mortgage, you have to pay lights, phone, repair, etc. on that home. But you have to live somewhere. And I'll give you an example of why this is a good move. Don't listen to all the people that tell you this is not investing, because it is. My first property I bought when I was 22 years old. I bought it for $65,000. I sold it in less than 5 years and made a $75,000 profit. If you live in an apartment or a rental property, well, when you leave empty handed. But in less than 5 years, I walked away with $70,000 in profit. Now, what did I do with that money? I flipped it. I made more money, not in the traditional way of flipping properties, because I really wasn't into flipping, but I wanted to upgrade the house that I was in. Well, I took that $70,000. I only put a portion of that $70,000 into the next home as a down payment. And I took some of that money and I invested it. I did things that was going to generate me money. And that's what we're talking about today. You generating money over and over again without you actually going to punch the clock for it. Well, a lot of people, the people that I grew up around, my mom, uncles, cousins, they had a mind concept of buy and die. When you buy a house, that's the house that you're going to live in until you die. Pay it off, and that's the goal of the older people. Well, that has never been my goal. In my short time on this earth, I have bought and lived in over 8 different properties. So that kind of equals out to probably around 7 years in each property. And I bought it and I, sold it, moved on to something else. And each time that profit was even bigger. Now, why do you want to do this? And why do I say this is easy and profitable? Number one, you have to live somewhere. Number two, little to no money down if it's a property that you're living in. You can get an FHA loan for as little as 3% down plus your closing costs. So then number two, you have to live somewhere, as I've said. Number three, you typically get a profit out of it when you leave it. When you sell that home and get ready to move into another one, you're typically going to walk away with money. And one of the most exciting things about buying that personal home is that when you sell it, if it's less than $500,000, if your husband-wife team, as me and my wife has been, then there's no taxes, up to $500,000 profit, and you pay no taxes. That's the sweetest part about it. My second home, I bought, sold in less than another 5 or 6 years. And in that property, I walked away with about $200,000 profit. Again, no taxes. So it really was kind of a profit and flip, but not in the traditional form of flipping. Now, what I want you to remember is to reinvest. Don't just, make a profit off of a home that you move out of and go and, live large, buy the nicest car and the nicest furniture. That's not your goal. You are doing this to make money. So I want you to take that money, reinvest into additional properties, reinvest into what we're going to talk about in our next video, which is business or something that's going to generate you money. The name of the game is generating income without having to work for it, without having to punch the clock. Because remember, if something happened to you physically, How will you earn a living? You want to invest your money so that it will take care of you when you need to be taken care of. All right. Last thing I'm going to tell you before we close this video out is I want you to have a plan for your money. My plan was business ownership. That was my long-term goal with the money that I was making off of properties, to ultimately buy a business. And that's what I did. And we're going to talk about that in the next video. So until the next video, I want you guys to please like, subscribe, share, and be blessed.